Hello sisters, I am going to do a simple floral arrangement and give you some tips and tricks on putting some flowers together, because it's the season where we have beautiful flowers in our yard and things are beautiful at the stores and at flower shops. So why not bring some of that into your home? And as some of you know, I did own a flower shop for a while and I've done flowers for ages, so this is kind of second nature for me. So I've got a couple things here I wanted to show you, and then just a couple tips to help make sure your flowers last a really long time. And I grabbed a couple containers, you know, just things that I kind of like to put flowers in. I picked this one just because it kind of goes with my color scheme. So to start off, make sure you start with kind of warmish water. And these packets come with pretty much any bunch you'll get at the store, and all flower shops should have them and be giving them to their customers. And they do actually make a big difference. It'll help keep, it's got flower food and then like some antibacterial, and it'll make a difference keeping your flowers fresh. They can last up to like 2 times longer. So for a vase this size, I'll probably do about 1/3 of the packet, because you don't want to do too much either, because it'll hurt the flowers. So make sure you use that, always use it. And then I would say every couple days, switch out the water and then put in fresh water and some more flower food, and your flowers will be awesome. Also, when people start, they tend to forget the greenery, and that's kind of your starting point. Because if you've got good greenery, your flowers are gonna look awesome. Plus then you don't need as many flowers. So I'm gonna show you how to kind of weave some greenery into your vase. And then if you have a really good greenery base, your flowers will stick in, and then when you need to pull them out, I'll show you at the end. You can pull it out, cut them, put them back in. It's perfect. So I have some baby blue eucalyptus, and I'm kind of allergic to it, so I'm gonna use some gloves. The oils are just really intense. So I'm gonna start with one of my stronger greens. This is called lemon leaf or salal. These stems are pretty clean, which is important, and I'll show you as we keep going. I'm also going to use a knife, just because that's how I design. But you can also just use clippers. Just give everything a nice sharp angle cut, whether it's clippers or if you want to use a knife. And then you just start layering stuff in. And it's going to look a little wonky when you start, but I always just do a couple kind of, like if you think of a clock, looking at a clock like this. So you've got a 12 o'clock, a 3 o'clock, a 6 o'clock, and a 9 o'clock. So that's kind of a good way to think of it. So you're kind of going around this way. So that's kind of my base, and then I'm going to use some silver dollar eucalyptus to weave in on top of that. This is very popular right now. And all this stuff, some of it I got at a flower shop, some of it I got at Trader Joe's. And you just want to kind of start sticking the stems in and go kind of opposite, because you want the stems to weave together, because as the stems weave together, you create a nice little tight arrangement for your flowers to stick into. So then when you put your flowers in, they don't flop all over. Another reason I chose this vase is it looks nice and big, but it has a smaller opening. The bigger the opening, the more flowers you need to fill it. So this kind of container is great just because it can look nice and big, but you don't have to use as many flowers. So I'm just going to keep layering in my greens, kind of weaving the leaves together. If you get greens like this, these are great just because you can kind of stick it in as one stem, and that V shape kind of helps keep the weave nice and strong. And I'm putting in a lot of greenery because I like the look of it. There are other ways to start an arrangement. There's tapes and things. So if anyone's interested, I could do another example. So, yeah, I'm just going to use this up. And style-wise, you can do whatever you want. If you want to do it nice and big and flowy. The nice part is the flowers do the hard work because they're so pretty. You're just kind of giving them a home. So this one I'm going to start layering in, and I'm going to kind of keep the height to one side. And this is one that you want to make sure you strip off all the little leaves, because all those leaves and stuff on the stems, as they sit in the water, they create bacteria, and then it kills the flowers a lot faster. It also doesn't smell very good. Okay, so I've used my eucalyptus. This is called bear grass, and it was just in, a lot of times it's in bunches with lilies. I like to just tie it in a little knot. Just because it looks kind of fun. I'll just stick it in the front. Just kind of the same direction as my other eucalyptus. Okay, so now I'm going to start adding my blooms. I've got some hydrangea as my mass flower. And just like nature, you want to keep the heavy stuff at the bottom and the lighter stuff at the top. Because then it looks more natural and the design is going to look a lot better. Just because it is going to look more natural. Same thing, I'm pulling off the leaves. Plus, the more leaves that are on the stem, that's where the water is going to go. And we want the water to go to the blooms. So I'm going to kind of layer those in. And I'm not a stickler on using odds or evens. I say just use what you have. And this one I'm going to kind of stick behind here. So I've got my mass flowers in. And then I've got lilies because I love the way they smell. I know it's kind of a personal preference. So same thing. I'm going to pull off some of those extra leaves. So you can see on here, they get gradually bigger as they go down. So I'm just going to take advantage of that and stick it here so that it looks nice and natural in my arrangement, and kind of take advantage of that asymmetrical style. So that's just a style choice more than anything. I love lilies, but the little pollen stuff will stain, so I just pick it out. Then I'm going to add a few more, kind of through the center. And lilies would be considered a form flower, just because they have kind of an odd shape. And they smell delicious. I think I'll probably add, and actually this one might be long enough to segment. So I'm just gonna cut it where they meet. So this guy, I can use as a taller Hawaiian flower. And then this little one, I can tuck down in front so that it can still get the water. And then my last lily. And I've got kind of a hole back here, and I'll turn it around so you can kind of see this back side. Take out the pollen. So this is where we are so far. So this, it's kind of all the way around, but it's got a front focus. And then I got these gorgeous peach roses, and I'm just gonna add until I feel like it's done. And roses are great. To pick a good bunch of roses, like these have started to open, and that's exactly what you want to happen. It doesn't mean that they're gonna die, because roses are supposed to bloom. And you wanna pick roses that look like they're blooming, because that means they'll continue to bloom. If they're super really tight, I know that's kind of, I mean, you want it to be nice and firm, but if they're tight, they tend to just kind of wilt and die and they don't bloom. But we want our roses to bloom. And fun fact, the lighter the rose, the more fragrant it is. So these peach roses are gonna smell nice and yummy. So I'm just gonna kind of start filling in the holes with these roses. I'm gonna add some for height on this side. Again, just to kind of follow that asymmetrical design I've got. And you just kind of start putting stuff in. And the nice thing, you can see where I put my, I mean, I can stick one in just like straight in the top and it'll stay because I've got everything nice and woven together. So that's why starting with some good greenery is really important. Plus it gives you that really fun garden look that's really popular right now as far as style. So my shape is kind of starting to go like this, so I'm just gonna add a few more on the side. There. And I think what I'll do is maybe add a few more. And then I'll show you how to weave a little handheld one really quick, just because I have so many left over. And that could be for something like a little, like bridal bouquet or a little posy that you take over to someone. And just like you weave flowers into the vase, you kind of do the same thing when you're doing a handheld. See if I've got any holes. Okay, so there is our little vase arrangement.